the left promoting policies that are obviously unconstitutional in light of Supreme Court rulings. And it's just part and parcel of the left's attack on the rule of law and the Constitution and a key part of the government, the Supreme Court. First up, though, I want to talk about the left's continued assault on your civil liberties. And what civil liberties should you be worried about? Well, virtually all of them, practically speaking. But in particular, they've been focused on the right to own and bear a weapon as guaranteed and reflected in the Second Amendment, a right which was further upheld and highlighted by the Supreme Court a few weeks ago in a decision that essentially said the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. And since then, you would have thought the Supreme Court hasn't ruled. You've had New York State demand, for instance, that you can't bear arms in virtually any place of a public nature in the whole state of New York, which is specifically at odds with what the Supreme Court ruled. So here you have the leftists running New York State standing in the courthouse door against the civil liberties of New York citizens, again, as highlighted by the Supreme Court. And of course, the left is pretending the Second Amendment doesn't exist in the face of this terrible shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, at that July 4th parade. Seven people were murdered by this lunatic of a young man, and who had weapons legal, who arguably could have had those weapons denied him based on his prior conduct and interactions with the police. But they want to use that as an excuse to take away the weapons of tens of millions, hundreds of millions of American citizens. And I highlight this issue to not to get into the gun debate again. You know, I support gun rights generally, and you know, we can argue back and forth about that, and you can debate below the extent of the Second Amendment protections. But it's the left promoting policies that are obviously unconstitutional in light of Supreme Court rulings. And it's just part and parcel of the left's attack on the rule of law and the Constitution and a key part of the government, the Supreme Court. You have it with the gun ruling. You have it with the crazed pro-abortionist attack on the court as well. Even today, we have reports, not reports, we know it's happened, that the former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated with a makeshift gun-type weapon. Terrible, terrible tragedy for the people of Japan. Obviously, the former Prime Minister, an important person there. And President Biden uses an opportunity to essentially advocate for gun control here in the United States. Incredible. And this fanaticism has dangerous consequences. You had an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh, which was, in my view, a consequence of the illegal protests outside his home and the homes of other Supreme Court justices. Just earlier this week, you've had, and of course that was endorsed by the Biden White House. And Justice Kavanaugh was in a restaurant downtown. Evidently he had to flee the restaurant because protesters started harassing him and patrons at the restaurant. So now you've got justices having to flee for their personal safety from crowds of protesters that have been egged on by this White House, who have refused to condemn, and I don't think the president personally has even said a word about the extraordinary assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. And you've had also the U.S. Marshal of the Supreme Court, which represents the entire court, send letters to leaders in Virginia and Maryland asking them to enforce local laws that prevent protests outside the homes of Supreme Court justices and, frankly, other citizens. And the response is, certainly from Maryland, one of the county executive for Montgomery County, where at least two, I think maybe there are two Supreme Court justices who live in Montgomery County, and he said, well, I'm not going to do anything in terms of This is the First Amendment, and he talked about, and then he attacked the court for tearing up the Constitution. So you have leftist politicians refusing to defend the rule of law and protect justices from illegal activity. And the same goes in Fairfax County, Virginia. There's been no enforcement of the law there, as best I can tell. You know, the laws do protect people at home, and at the federal level, you have laws that protect the justices as well, which aren't being enforced by Garland and the Justice Department. And as I said, the exact opposite. The lawlessness is being encouraged by the Biden White House. So this is what I suggest you do. If you live in Maryland or Virginia, communicate with your elected officials about the failure to protect the Supreme Court justices who live in your states from intimidation by the radical left. And especially if you live in Fairfax County, Virginia, or Montgomery County, Maryland, I encourage you to communicate with your elected officials in those counties to demand protection of your fellow residents, your fellow Supreme Court your fellow Supreme Court justices who are residents there. So in the meantime, Judicial Watch is investigating, by the way, the leak. We're investigating the security issues as it relates to the failures to protect the Supreme Court justices by local and federal law enforcement. So Judicial Watch isn't going to forget this. But this is a kind of a coordinated assault on the rule of law. And it goes beyond guns. As I said, it goes into abortion. The president is announced all hands on deck approach by his administration to advocate for abortion on demand. Frankly, it looks like contrary to the Constitution and the Supreme Court ruling. So you have all of these those who support abortion or gun restrictions, kind of opposing the Supreme Court's decisions on civil rights matters. And frankly, it reminds me of some who decades ago opposed Supreme Court decisions on civil rights matters. Now, the left will get angry that there's a connection there, but I see a connection. And they oppose the idea that the states now have the ability to extend the protection of the right to life to unborn human beings, the protection of law. Well, that's what segregation was about. The protection of law was being denied people based on race and other improper considerations. And now you have other folks saying that they don't want the civil rights extended to unborn human beings. That's the reality of it. So there you go. We're in dangerous times when it comes to our Republican form of government. You've got the Supreme Court under attack by the media and the left. You've got threats of violence directed at the court, inaction, and frankly, complicity, in my view, by the leadership of Congress and the presidency. So these are terrible times in that regard, and we just have to call attention to it. The media won't. They'll pretend nothing's happening. But believe you me, there's significant disruption going on in our judicial system as a result of the left's attacks on the operations of the judiciary and the justices of the Supreme Court personally. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.